Hello everyone, and welcome to the air poll for the second litter of the Shattered Storm pack, where of course we have Tempest, Hurricane, and their pups, most of whom survived, but unfortunately we did lose 9F. Oh, poor girl. Oh, she had very similar stats to Tempest actually, but -2 health. She wasn't a runt, but maybe that's why she ended up being so sickly. Man, it definitely stung to lose her so early. She never even got to have a proper name. And she's so cute too. But the other pups did survive, so today we will be aging them up to adults, taking a look at them, and of course there'll be a link to a poll in the video description where you can vote for which one of them you'd like to see become the heir of the Shattered Storm pack, or rather a potential heir. They will be running against the pups from Tempest's other litters as well. There will also be a spreadsheet with information about the pups, such as their coats, their stats, and whatever we noticed about them during the litter. If you would like a quick reference for these guys, so you don't have to go back and watch the whole video just to find information about one particular pup. But let's take a look at him. So of course, first off here we have Downpour, who she actually has identical stats to her father: -2 strength, 1 stamina, 2 speed, and -1 health. Hurricane, by the way, has 0 strength, 1 stamina, 1 speed, and -2 health. Speaking of Hurricane, Downpour does look quite a lot like her. She's got kind of that reddish tinting. I think different eyes, they're more orangey it looks like, but we'll see what they turn out to be as an adult. We also have Cyclone here, who is a little bit more in the gray spectrum with -1 strength, 1 stamina, 1 speed, -1 health. We have Hailstorm, the only male of the litter, with 0 strength, 1 stamina, 1 speed, and -2 health. Man, it's a good thing he survived his illness then, because that's scary. And we also have Whirlwind, who has -2 strength, 1 stamina, 2 speed, and -1 health, which again is the same as her father, so 2 of the girls inherited his exact stats. But I'm going to go ahead, we'll age these guys up, and we'll take a look at what they look like as adults. And here we are, starting off with Downpour, who has, this is the same coat as Cassia actually, it's the 926F Spitfire coat. It is a genetic black coat, and you can also see she definitely has some customizations, but I'm not sure which all. Definitely the radio collar though. She has these very bright yellow eyes as well, very, very pretty for sure. They stand out quite well against her dark fur. We'll also go ahead, we'll listen to her howls here. Well, that's a higher one, number 3 for both, it looks like. As for secondary, that's a little bit of a deeper mid-ranged one. Now, as for her customizations, they can roll these naturally apart from the radio collar, but if you guys have ideas for this and you're a member of the Patreon, a member here on YouTube memberships, or a sub on Twitch, you'll be able to suggest ideas for something that happened to these wolves between the time that they were a pup and the time they became an adult, and maybe a little story to go with it. Maybe they got in a fight, got a torn ear, maybe they have a crooked tail, whatever you think it might be. If you're on the Patreon or a Twitch sub or a YouTube channel member here and you're either commenting on a post on Patreon or a member of the Discord server for supporters over the age of 13, you can send in those ideas there. But let's go ahead and look through. It doesn't look like there's any obvious ear customizations. No, I don't think she has any. She does have the radio collar. The rest of this so far is looking normal. Oh, wait. She does have an inward tail. Oh, poor thing. It looks like she's perpetually got her tail tucked, which is not quite her typical personality. She was actually a pretty rambunctious wolf, as all of the girls were. Here again are her stats. They're actually identical to Tempest's. And of course, she is the offspring of Tempest and Hurricane. She was one of the troublemakers, kind of all 3 girls, well, all 3 surviving girls were. And she was not necessarily always the instigator, but she was quick to follow in, wandering very far away from wherever we wanted her to be. She made quite a bit of trouble as a pup, and something tells me she might continue to be a bit of a troublemaker even as an adult. But that is Downpour. Next up we have Cyclone, and she got this really, really pretty black fur, as well as eyes that remind me a lot of her father's. They're a little more green, I think, but still that very diluted kind of silvery color. It's very pretty. But this is the small dot coat from the Cool Coats. This is from the Yellowstone DLC, I believe, as is the one that Downpour has. And this is a genetic black coat as well. A lot of them seem to have inherited their mom's coat color this time. I wonder, did we have any gray coats last time? Is Hurricane a double black? I can't remember. I don't recall if we had any gray coats from the previous litter. I'd have to go back and look, but there might be a chance of it if not. But here's a closer look at her eyes. They are very pretty, very, very greeny. Again, they do remind me of her dad's, but I think they're a little bit more saturated than his are. We'll also go ahead and listen to her howls. Ooh, that's a very high-pitched one. And then for her secondary, even higher pitched. Wow, so she has a very high voice. Now, once again, we're going to go ahead and we'll look at her customizations, but if you want to suggest an idea for something that could have happened to her between the time she was a pup and the time she became an adult, and you are a member of the YouTube memberships, Patreon, or a Twitch sub, you can suggest those ideas either on Patreon on the post there or in the Discord server if you're over the age of 13. But as for what customizations she rolled naturally, I don't see any for ears. Nothing's obvious. And nothing super obvious here too, unless she has a crooked tail. Nope, it looks like she has the defaults for pretty much everything, so no customizations there. As for her stats, you can see she has that -1 strength, +1 stamina, +1 speed, and -1 health, so definitely more of a runner than a fighter. And of course, she's the offspring of Tempest and Hurricane. She was a pretty confident pup, it seemed like. She was not all that afraid of the predator attacks. There were a few times when she didn't even really want to go in the den. She wanted to stand her ground, and although that's admirable, it's not the best trait to have as a puppy. So I have a feeling that as an adult, she would probably not want to be backing down from a fight. She'd want to be right in the thick of it until her opponent runs away. But that is Cyclone. Next up we have Hailstorm. And my, what an interesting thing this is. Hailstorm was the only male of the litter, and he had kind of a reddish-brown coat as a pup, but becoming an adult, it's actually turned pure white. This is the 42F Cinderella coat. It is a genetic black coat because genetics are odd, but that's quite interesting, actually. He went from being reddish brown to nearly pure white. He kind of reminds me of his dad, honestly, although Tempest has some more of those brownish red hues. The only thing that Hailstorm has is those black ears, but that said, he does quite fit his look, or his name. His looks fit his name. He's also got these darker kind of orangey eyes here, orangey brown. Very, very pretty for sure. Let's also go ahead and listen to his howls. That's the classic nostalgia howl, and he also got the first option for his secondary. Ooh, that's a bit of a deeper, dramatic one. Now, of course, for his customizations, we're going to see if he rolled anything naturally, but if you have ideas for what could have happened to him from the time that he was a pup to the time that he became an adult, you can submit those either on the Patreon or in the Discord server if you are a member of the Patreon, a member here on YouTube, or a sub on Twitch. But let's go ahead, we'll see. I don't notice any ear customizations, at least obviously, no. And as for the other ones, everything's looking pretty normal. Yep, I don't think he got any additional customizations either. As for his stats, once again, those are 0 strength, 1 stamina, 1 speed, but -2 health. So once again, more of a runner than a fighter, and very, very fortunate to have survived his illness. He was the only other pup to get sick besides 9F, who unfortunately did not make it. He's the offspring of Tempest and Hurricane, and his personality is the one that stood in stark contrast to the girls. He was much more subdued. He kind of liked being off by himself. He was quieter, stayed nearer the den. He was kind of an interesting pup. He often worried his father because I think Tempest was always kind of afraid that it had something to do with his illness or even with whatever it was those coyotes were up to at the den. It is definitely kind of strange to think about. He was the one who was notably a little bit different, a little bit quieter, had a strange event early on in his life, and well, it's interesting to note that he went through a drastic change from the time that he was a pup to when he became an adult. He went from having a brown coat to suddenly looking almost strangely like his father. It's a little bit strange, a little bit odd, a little bit different. But that is Hailstorm. And last but not least, we have Whirlwind, who, oh my goodness, she has almost a little bit of a smirk, it looks like, and that suits this troublemaker quite a lot, I think. She has a genetic black coat as well. It's the half black coat, which has a kind of the darker back there. It's not something that was unobvious from her puppy coat, I don't think, but it does suit her quite well. She also has these really bright, kind of bronzy, coppery eyes. They're very, very pretty for sure. Definitely stand out as well. As for her howls, it looks like she got the fourth one here. A very, very deep howl, which suits her strong personality. And then for her secondary, still a bit of a deeper one, but a little bit more uncertain than her primary. Now, of course, as for her customizations, I see an ear customization already. We're going to take a look through the others, but if you have an idea for what may have happened to her between the time she was a pup to when she became an adult, and you're a supporter either on Patreon, YouTube channel memberships, or through a Twitch sub, you can suggest those either on the Patreon, or if you're over the age of 13, you can suggest them in the supporter Discord as well. But we have, looks like at least one ear customization. I think, yes, that's notched left, it looks like. Nothing else that I'm seeing for the ones that rolled naturally. As for body customizations, everything's looking pretty normal. Yeah, it looks like it's just that ear notch, which does kind of suit her considering that she was a bit of a rambunctious one. As for her stats, she has the same as her father, -2 strength, 1 stamina, 2 speed, and -1 health. All these packs, they're more, or all the wolves in this pack seem to be more runners than fighters, it feels like. And of course, she is the offspring of Tempest and Hurricane. She was the one who often instigated the trouble. She was always very far away from the den, the rendezvous site. It's a miracle she didn't wander off and get herself lost. Fortunately, even though she kind of ran her parents ragged, they were always able to find her and bring her back. She's definitely a free spirit who would probably cause her fair share of chaos even as an adult if that notched ear is anything to go by. But that's going to conclude this air poll. You can find a link in the video description to vote for which of these pups you want to see become the potential heir of the pack. And you can also find a link to a spreadsheet in the video description with basically kind of a summary of the pups, their stats, their coats, and whatever notes we collected on them during the litter, things we noticed about them, etc. But that's going to go ahead and conclude this poll, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. But until then, this is Jay, over and out.